President Cyril Ramaphosa, as we've reiterated, will be delivering that eulogy in honor of the late Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa during his funeral that's being held at the Dondotha Stadium in KwaMbonambi in KwaZulu-Natal. It's happening later this morning. And at the time of his tragic passing, Ambassador Mthethwa was serving as South Africa's head of mission in Paris, in France. It's a position that he held since December of 2023. Previous to that, of course, he had done many leadership positions. He was in cabinet, he was an ANC member. And based on the timeline, based on, these reflections, we're going to continue to look at the life and times and the impact that he would have had for South Africa and the diplomatic community at large. Let's be joined by Lindiwe Zulu for this. Minister Lindiwe, I know that you obviously are driving, and it's a rather somber moment for the organization, for the country at large. But we're obviously paying tribute to the son of the soil. We're reflecting on how the ANC is also remembering the late Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa. Perhaps you could share some sentiments that come to mind for you.
Thank you very much, Lizelle, and thank you for the opportunity for the African National Congress to continue speaking about Unathi. I would say in our language, lihambile inwasimende letu. There is a gentleman has left us, but not only just a gentleman, a revolutionary of note. This is one person who some of us would always remember because he was always calm, irrespective of what the challenge and the problem was. Every time he stood up to speak at National Executive Committee meetings, Lizelle, I can assure you, everybody kept quiet because everybody knew what was going to come out of him. This is a person who was able to handle the most of difficult moments for the African National Congress. But this is a cadre, a soldier who never gave up on the ANC, irrespective of the challenges that the organization was facing at any time. That is how I would always remember him. And I think many comrades have spoken throughout the period. And all the time, everybody has said the calmest cadre we ever had, a very focused man that we had in our lives. And we pass condolences yet again to the family, but also its condolences to the African National Congress.
For those opening remarks and sentiments, obviously him having played such an indelible mark for our democratic dispensation and project. I was reading the timeline reflecting how his political career began at the age of 15 when he joined, KwaVata and obviously ascended into the ranks of the ANC, ultimately also serving as a cabinet minister. Let's go back. Let's look at that generation, that ANC Youth League. What set it apart? What are some of those values, those ideals that he would have, been donned with? He would have also been groomed with to enable the character, the man that emerged as well.
Obviously, he also came from a solid family, which I think we must also salute, because family must be at the center of things. Even today, family must continue to be at the center, because by the time he was 15, joining the African National Congress, he must have been brought up by very strict family members who groomed him and enabled him to do an analysis of the environment around him that then enabled him to decide to join the African National Congress, firstly. Secondly, it is the discipline under which the Youth League in particular of the time was able to listen to adults, was able to respect their environment, but was also able to read a lot. Nathi read a lot. They were able to read, do an analysis, and act on the basis of what the African National Congress stood for. So lessons that have been learned from him, as Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma so eloquently elaborated on them when we had the memorial service at the Department of International Relations. She made the emphasis on discipline, and discipline is what we need today. I say discipline and Ubuntu today, especially after having been reading some of the comments that are being made while we are supposed to be respecting the process of laying him to rest and wait for everything else to come through the normal channels, because an investigation is still going on. So our plea is just that of Ubuntu amongst our own people. But the lessons obviously we learn from him is you always have to be calm. You always have to do an analysis. You always have to be guided in your judgment in as far as your organization is concerned, the African National Congress, but also the politics of the country. We are going to really miss him a lot from that point of view.
Let me pick up on that point. I know it is obviously a very somber time at this point, but as you mentioned, during the memorial services that were held in KZN this past Thursday, there had been utterances that had been echoed by former Police Minister Bheki Cele. He was very critical. There were some harsh words directed to the country, its citizens. As the ANC, what does the party make of the utterances? I know that you question the timing of all of this, given that he is also being laid to rest.
Well, look, we all respond emotionally through different ways. I understand why Bheki Cele, Comrade Bheki, had to be so angry. He's angry because he knows that as Africans in particular, and black people in particular, we have always respected when somebody has passed on. We pay respect, we honor that person, we pay respect, and then if there are issues that we need to deal with, we at least wait until umphefumulo womuntu uhambe, umzimba womuntu uphole, and then allow also the family, honestly, allow the family to mourn. Yes, we know there are issues that are surrounding, but as Africans, one thing I know, we will always respect and give the family an opportunity to mourn, the wife, Pilisiwe, the family, the children. We should give them that space at least to mourn their loved ones. But also we should be given the space to mourn somebody that we regard as a hero in our midst, because that's what he is, who joins the liberation movement at the age of 15 and stay on course from then to now, showing his love for the people of South Africa, his love for the African National Congress, because his commitment was not just for himself. It was a commitment for the liberation of the country, and then thereafter, building institutions of governance that would protect our citizens.
Honourable Lindiwe, I just want to perhaps look and wrap up. Just in terms of time, I can see you also obviously on your way to pay your last respects. Your fondest memory, how you would like to remember him. What comes to mind as we wrap up quickly?
What comes to mind is a revolutionary who was committed. What comes to mind is somebody that never got off the cause of liberation, somebody that gave his entire life to the liberation of South Africa, but beyond that, somebody that gave his life to building institutions of governance that will continue to protect our people. Our role and responsibility is to continue from where he left, strengthen the institutions of government so that they can protect citizens from corruption, from things that are not going well. But more than anything else, we have to commit to building the African National Congress so that it stays strong and stays on course for continuing the transformation of South Africa.
Well, thank you for your time. Also wishing you strength at this difficult hour. We're reflecting on the life and times of the late Ambassador to South Africa to France, Ambassador of South Africa to France, Nathi Mthethwa, of course, Lindiwe Zulu there, NEC member of the ANC, reflecting on the indelible mark that he's had. Also, as some of the moments that stood out for her. We'll leave it there and continue with our special coverage on the SABC. We'll be right back after the station.